Last year's Pixel 2 series was one of the most highly acclaimed smartphones of 2017. Despite being marred by controversy, the 2017 Pixels were outstanding smartphones, and I recommended them left and right. This year's Pixel 3 is a lot like its predecessor, only better and worse. Should you buy Google's latest flagship smartphone, or save some scratch by opting for last year's model? Let's see how these two phones stack up in Pixel 3 XL versus Pixel 2 XL. The Pixel 3 is an iterative sequel to last year's widely acclaimed Pixel 2. When the Pixel 2 XL launched, it was criticized for being a premium device with a second-grade display. It featured colors that were washed out and had a significant blue shift, with some of the panels reporting issues of display burn-in. Google addressed these issues to an extent, with a software update giving the option for more vibrant colors, better suited to the POLED display's capability, and started shipping newer units that had less severe blue shift. These issues are seldom a problem on the Pixel 3 XL, but again this year the display is in a negative spotlight, mostly due to its prodigious notch up front. Smartphone notches are pretty common nowadays, and it is an awkward stage in smartphone design philosophy en route to a bezel-less future. But the notch in the Pixel 3 XL is just really ugly, at least in my eyes. As with any notch, you can quickly get used to it, but as a Pixel 2 XL user, I didn't mind just disabling the notch in the Pixel 3. While it did result in losing some precious screen real estate and therefore defeats the purpose of such a large display, personally I would much rather have a more symmetrical display panel, which is pretty controversial, but the phone just feels like a Pixel 2 XL to me. Coming from that phone, it was just okay for me. Fortunately, if you think the display is something you can live with, the smartphones behind the screens are outstanding. That starts with the same well-oiled Android experience that made the last two generations of Pixels so intoxicating. Lag is almost non-existent, and the Pixel 3 does its forerunners very proud. With the exception of the 120 frames per second Razer phone series, I have never used a more performant Android device, about on par with the OnePlus 6T. There were some reports of the Pixel 2 XL slowing down over the year, but my unit didn't exhibit these issues to that severity and is still pretty fluid. One of my favorite things about the 2 XL was its battery life. While it's not as exceptional, say, as the Huawei Mate 20 Pro, the 2 XL and 3 XL can get me through a heavy day of use very comfortably, with average screen on time trending towards 5 hours. That's more than I can say about, for example, Samsung's Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus. The newer phone runs on the Snapdragon 845 processor, while the older one runs on the Snapdragon 835. Both of these phones come with only 4GB of RAM, which some spec heads find very concerning in the long run, but it remains to be seen how these phones age over time. This is because one of the benefits of the Pixel series is that it's promised software updates for 3 years after release, with security updates and bug fixes every single month. This means that the Pixel 2 XL is good for updates till 2020 and the 3 is good till 2021. You also still get unlimited Google Photo storage at full resolution. Flip over to the backside and at first glance they almost blend together, especially in the just black color variant. Hawk-eyed viewers will notice that there is a slight curvature and rounder design language at the edge of the two-tone color design separation, coupled with a slightly different back texture. This is because the back is now frosted glass in contrast to last year's coated metal. This is to make way for wireless charging in the newer phones, which is a welcome addition to the Pixel line. The Pixel stand is an extra accessory you can purchase for your Pixel 3 that turns your Pixel into a pseudo Google Home and a very nice night clock, with some exclusive features. It is also the only wireless charger to charge the Pixel at its maximum potential charging rate at the time of recording. Links to purchase your own Pixel and Pixel stand will be in the description. As for the unboxing experience, Google gives you everything you need from the dongles to the fast charger, and the 3 XL also comes with wired headphones in contrast to the 2 XL. One of the most important differences, or at least one that Google is stressing anyways, is the camera. Both units feature a single 12.2 megapixel shooter with optical image stabilization coupled with an f1.8 aperture. From a hardware standpoint, these sensors are almost identical, with the newer sensor being just a millimeter wider. As always, Google's magic is all in the software. With the Pixel visual core sitting inert these smartphones, and Google's image processing algorithms, these are arguably the best cameras you can get, period. Last year's Pixel 2 camera still holds up and often beats most 2018 flagship cameras, and the Pixel 3 builds upon it. Shooting with both these phones side by side, you almost have to squint to notice the differences. Both have very similar dynamic range thanks to Google's HDR+, but they have slight differences in white balance, particularly in color temperature. The 2XL skews more towards the warmer side of the spectrum, whereas the 3XL sticks to the cooler tones. The 3XL is also able to pull more light from the shadows and is also able to preserve more detail. Low light performance is fairly comparable given their hardware similarities, and night sight on both phones kick out an amazing balance of details and colors without overexposing the shot. The night sight on 3XL specifically works like magic. It was pitch dark in this shot, but the 3XL was able to capture it better than the Galaxy S9 Plus and the Pixel 2 XL by a fairly wide margin. The 3XL also comes with Super Res Zoom, which captures multiple frames and uses camera shakes to capture motion data and details, and then uses algorithms to compensate for digital zoom, and is able to capture an incredible amount of detail. Video shows the same differences in color reproduction, with stabilization being almost identical. The Pixel 2 XL still holds up incredibly well against the 3XL, and most folks will hardly notice any difference in everyday situations. There are two cameras up front on the Pixel 3 XL compared to just one on the 2 XL. The second camera is a wide-angle lens that allows you to capture more in the shot and doesn't have as big a fisheye distortion as most wide angles. Call quality and reception are also a strong point on both of these phones. I tested these phones in the Rogers network in downtown Toronto with HD calling in effect when connected to supported networks. Callers reported little to almost no background noise and sounded very clear on our end too. Taking calls on the speakerphone is an absolute delight. Both of these phones have front-facing speakers that are very loud. The Pixel 3 XL improves on the speakers with a louder and clearer speaker that has more oomph and crisper separation of voice and instruments. The 3 XL is one of the loudest and best speakers I've ever heard on a smartphone. The 3 XL is also IP68 compliant, in contrast to last year's IP67. This means that the Pixel 3 is impervious to dust immersion and is good for a dunk in water for up to 1.5 meters for up to 30 minutes, compared to the just a meter on the 2 XL. So let's get to the home stretch. Should you buy the Pixel 3 over the Pixel 2? Well, if you already have a Pixel 2, the answer is probably no. Most of the software enhancements, including the latest version of Android, as well as the new camera features such as night sight, have already been ported over to the 2 XL. With the massive price drop of the 2 XL to only $599 US, the 2 XL is practically a steal right now. With that being said, contract pricing is a lot less glaring. If you need the best of the best, with the cleanest version of Android, the 3 XL is the phone you should buy. However, if you see your phone as a means to an end, or you want to save some scratch, then opt in for last year's model instead. Either way you go, you probably won't be disappointed. For more on the latest smartphones and tech as well as tips and tricks, be sure to subscribe and leave a like down below if you enjoyed the video. Either way, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.